Hey, welcome back. So we're taking a look at the minor 7 arpeggio and also where that arpeggio is derived from. We're going to take a look at 3 different forms today, and also I'm going to explain a couple of other things. We're going to look at the major 7, the 7 and the minor 7 arpeggios in parallel to check out the differences between each of them. In parallel, not relatively. That's a different trip. Okay. So we're looking at the D minor 7 chord as being related to the scale of C major, as being the 2 chord in the key of C major. This is important. All right. So when we take the notes of the chord, through our usual method of take a note, skip a note, take a note, skip a note, take a note, skip a note, we end up with out of C major with the notes D, F, A, and C, giving us that D minor 7 chord. When you play a voicing like this, right, that's not necessarily going to be in the same order, but the notes of the chord will be here. In this case, the voicing of this chord is D, A, C, and then the F there, right? So that's just a little point. Okay, now just to take a look at these chord types in parallel. A C major, if we're looking at them all as C from a C root, C tonic, we have C major 7, and a C major 7 has a 1, obviously the root, and then the major third, a major third, the equivalent of 2 tones, and then the 5th, and then the 7th is the major 7. And that sort of dissonant major 7. So the major third and a major 7 and C major 7 chord. When we look at a C7 chord, it's 1 and 3, the same 1 and 3, the same 1 and 3 and 5, as a matter of fact. And then when we get to the 7, that's where the chord changes from C major 7. It's just a semitone below, so it's a minor 7. 1, 3, 5, flat 7, minor 7, giving us this right. Instead of we have. And now when we move to the minor 7 chord, which we're looking at today, we have, looking at it in parallel, we have the 1, and it's not a major third this time, it's a minor third, which is a semitone smaller, right? A minor third. And then the 5th remains the same. So in each of those chords, they each have a perfect 5th, right? And now the 7th in a C minor 7 is the same as the 7th that you would find in the C7, right? So it's like a C7 chord with a minor third, C minor, C7, and C major 7. Okay, so that's that's a good thing to know, a good thing to remember, good thing to think of chords from a parallel perspective, each from the same root, because that you're comparing apples to apples, right? As opposed to relative, which is again different. Okay, so recap: major 7 has a major third and a major 7th interval from the root. The 7th, the dominant 7th type chord, has a major 3 with a minor 7th, and the minor 7th chord has a minor third and a minor seventh. Okay, and we're looking at the minor seventh chord today, and let's get to the fretboard. Now, the way this book is laid out is this is the book Essentials for the Improvising Guitarist, building a functional understanding of arpeggios and chord forms for that matter. Published by my guitar pal. I wrote this one. A good book. You can pick it up on Amazon. I don't cover absolutely every detail of this book, but I'm giving you as good an idea as I can in this current format. Okay, so I'm just using three different chord voicings to derive my arpeggios from, and there's a good reason for that. That'll become apparent shortly. D minor 7, right there at fret 10. And here's your arpeggio. So close to the pentatonic scale, it almost makes me want to play the pentatonic scale. But it doesn't have the fourth in it. So we have the 1, the 3, the 5, and the flat 7. 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3, right? Does not have the 4. Right there. Not there, but very closely related, right? With the pentatonic scale and the minor pentatonic scale in the minor 7 arpeggio. And the chord. All right, and then minor 7 arpeggio. Now, I think this might be a good time to say that that when I'm thinking of the minor 7 arpeggio, because as we discussed at the beginning here, it starts on the 2nd degree, of the C major scale. I mean, that's because we're looking at it in the context of it being the 2 chord in a major key. So we're working our way toward 2-5-1 progressions, which are ubiquitous in music generally speaking, but especially in jazz. And so when I look at an arpeggio like this, like this D minor 7th arpeggio, I also see the template underneath that arpeggio of the related scale, which in this case is the Dorian mode, right? And so it's a good idea to couple the arpeggio with the scale at the same time. It gives you these layers, the layer of the scale, a layer of the chord, and a layer of the arpeggio. And you just can't go wrong this way, right? And then alterations are another story. Okay, and then another minor 7. You can see that's the same root, right? It's sort of a big stretch, this one. Especially for someone with, shorter, fat fingers. Right. And there's the another minor 7. Now, this is where it gets important. So you have to practice these arpeggios and get these underneath your fingers, obviously, if you want to solo. This is where I shouldn't have used the word important. This was all important. This is all important. But this is where it starts to come together, right? So if we have a 2-5-1 progression like we have here, the first one in the progressions for practice page here, we have a 2, a 5, and a 1. Real, fundamental and 1 stuff. Now, if we start to put these things together, you see what's happening there is I'm playing the arpeggios as if there's a play along track doing what I did, right? And when you're connecting these arpeggios, always connect them to, voice lead them to as much as is humanly possible to the note that's the closest in the arpeggio. So if I use this form here, there's my chord change. There's the chord change, 2 measures. Chord change, chord change. You get the idea. I used 2 diatonic passing tones because sometimes I just can't help it, and that's okay. You can do that. I'll allow you to do that too. Diatonic passing tone means it's not a chord tone. It is a scale tone related to the scale instead of the chord. All right, and so it's passing to a chord tone. Diatonic passing tone. All right, different from a chromatic passing tone, which is not a part of the scale. Well, yeah, let's forget that. Okay, so this is the idea. This is what these arpeggios are leading toward, right? Being able to play real-world situations and define the chords, as we did too. I mean, we weren't just down here. We started with an arpeggio up here, didn't we? And then we could do this as well, right? We could play it up in this region. There's my major 7, a minor, and then 7, and then the major 7, right? So the idea with the arpeggios that are chosen in this book at the beginning is to get you launched into these 2-5-1s with the arpeggios below those most common 2-5-1s, and later on in the book it goes we fill up the entire fretboard with just about every 2-5-1 you can imagine. So yeah, so that's about it. So learn your arpeggios: major 7, minor 7, dominant 7th, which form the basis of 2-5-1 chord progressions. Remember that when you're looking at a chord progression like this one in C major 7, like this one in C major, it's called the 2-5-1 progression because you're getting the 2 chord from the 2nd degree of the C major scale, you're getting the 5 chord from the 5th degree of the C major scale, and you're getting the 1 chord from the 1st degree of the C major scale. So in other words, each of these chords comes from the same scale, right? So each of these chords is diatonic to the key, diatonic to the scale. Okay. So that's it. I hope this was a help to you. I hope this is launching you on some sort of path. The idea here is to have a real world practice regimen that includes scales and triads and 2-5-1s and arpeggios and you know, new chord forms and substitutions and, you know, and stuff like that. So you can build an understanding, so you can take a really solid kit of tools to the task of making music. All right. Yeah, learning, you know, especially more complex forms of music like jazz, and trying to learn that by, you know, just, you know, pictures or tablature or something. It's not going to happen. You know, it's really essential to have an essential, you know, fundamental understanding of what you're doing and where you're going. And this is going to apply to every style that you play. Doesn't matter if what you're playing. It's going to apply, you know, in every way. Okay, that's it. If this helped you in any way, comment and say, yeah, this is great. Thanks very much. I really appreciate it when you do that. Because I feel alone enough doing this without knowing that you're listening and that you care. And then there's, so like is a good one too, and subscribe. Love to see you again. Love to take you a little bit deeper into this journey. Thanks very much for stopping by. See you soon.